Straight ahead on CCX News, construction takes over neighborhoods. We'll dig into a massive project that impacts 3 local suburbs. Plus, something that hasn't happened in New Hope in years. It's something that will impact local charities. And later, rise and shine at a Plymouth bait shop, their secret to surviving the competition. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Residents in 3 local suburbs will need some extra patience. Several neighborhoods are dealing with construction as part of a massive natural gas line project. We get more on this from Eric Nelson.
We began in April in Brooklyn Park. We're going to end in New Hope in middle of October.
Just call it the Big Dig. CenterPoint Energy is moving plenty of earth these days as they put in a new natural gas pipeline next to the northbound lane of Winnetka Avenue.
This is a large project from a scope standpoint.
This 3-city project goes through Brooklyn Park, Crystal, and New Hope and spans 1.5 miles.
Focus is improving the safety, reliability of that pipeline and allow us to do ongoing inspections that are required to ensure the integrity of that pipeline long term.
Despite the orange barrels, detours, and hassle factor, some local residents are not concerned about the construction.
Not me at all. No, they got work to do.
Brooklyn Park's Danny Peterson says this project is necessary.
It has to be done, so it's not a problem.
As we're working on this section, it doesn't impact the service to our customers during the time we're working on it. We're able to keep gas flowing to our customers' homes for cooking, water heating, that type of thing at this time of the year.
CenterPoint works closely with homeowners who are affected by the dig, hoping to minimize their inconvenience.
We'll arrange for them to either park out of their driveway or to move out of their driveway before we trap them in there with a trench. Construction
is part of an ongoing multi-year project by CenterPoint to upgrade gas lines throughout the Twin Cities metro area. During construction, Winnetka will be open only to local residents. Others will be rerouted along West Broadway or Boone Avenue. In Brooklyn Park, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Now, people who are impacted by the construction can get weekly email or text updates by going to centerpointenergy.com/construction. Meanwhile, in Golden Valley, construction could begin in a couple weeks to replace 2 failing culverts. 10th Avenue near City Hall has been closed since May because a sinkhole formed in the street. Bassett Creek flows through the culverts underneath 10th Avenue and a railroad track. The culverts deteriorated to the point that officials decided to replace them as soon as possible. Work is now planned to start by the end of August and should be done before the snow flies in late November.
Since we're working with the railroad on this project, they have specific requirements for when the railroad tracks can be removed and how long they can be removed for, because in order to replace the culvert, we are going to have to take the railroad tracks out of service for a short amount of time. There is the potential for some weekend night work where we'd be working 24 hours a day in order to get this project complete in a timely manner.
10th Avenue will remain closed until the project is done. An open house to answer questions about the project will be held next Tuesday, August 22nd at Golden Valley City Hall. One of the Northwest Metro's most prominent office buildings has been sold. The Colonnade office tower near I-394 and Highway 100 sold to a Connecticut investment firm for a sale price of reportedly $100 million. That's twice as much as it sold for 6 years ago. The Colonnade is home to such companies as Buffalo Wild Wings, Pentair, and Comcast. Based on cost per square foot, the sale is believed to be the priciest on record for a suburban Twin Cities office deal. A Maple Grove Japanese steakhouse is now closed. This comes 2 weeks after the restaurant's owner was charged with running a sex trafficking operation. Sumo Japanese Sushi Steakhouse opened last December. Signs on the door now notify customers that it is closed. There were warning signs of the restaurant's demise earlier this summer when it chose not to renew its liquor license. The owner, Zaxi Taxing, was charged with 2 counts of engaging in sex trafficking. The criminal complaint accuses Taxing of flying women in from their native China to engage in prostitution at apartments he rented across the Twin Cities. For the first time in recent memory, there will be no New Hope Lions corn feed fundraiser this year, and you can blame the weather for that. You're looking at video from a previous year. Last week, the threat of rain forced the Lions to postpone until Wednesday. Now, more rain is expected this week, so they've decided to simply cancel the event. A Lions member says it's the first time in the 10 years he's been with the club that it's been postponed, that it's been canceled, that is. The corn feed is a longtime fundraiser for local charities. In Brooklyn Park, work is expected to begin on a major addition to a school for students with unique learning needs. The Edgewood Education Center on Xylon Avenue is about to get a 30,000 square foot addition. 14 classrooms will be added and other parts of the building will be remodeled at a cost of more than $17 million. The project will allow Intermediate School District 287 to move students from a building they are currently leasing. School officials say there is increasing demand for specialized school and classroom space for high-needs students. A local organization made up of high school students is on a mission to connect their peers to resources that will help them succeed.
We wanted to make an event that would really bring the youth together in our communities, both in Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park, to kind of get them motivated for the school year, let them know that there's people here who care.
The Brooklyn's Youth Council organized this inaugural Motivation Youth Festival Saturday afternoon. The event was put together after the council conducted a survey and found that local youth were afraid of failure. As a result, they lacked the necessary motivation to be successful. The goal of Saturday's festival was to connect youth with resources in the community to help maintain their drive and determination in school and in life.
There are resources within their community that they can look for to help, to find help, that there are people who care, and that it's okay to fail, that's normal. But the important thing is to stand up and keep moving on, because that's what's going to keep you being successful in life.
About 200 people attended the festival. The hope is to continue the event every 1 to 2 years. Still ahead, how a Plymouth bait shop manages to reel in customers. That's next in Business Matters. Plus, it's the opening day of practice for most fall sports, and we'll check in with a football team with a new head coach. But first, another round of storms moves in. Look for the next batch to arrive Tuesday night. For more than 2 decades, Big B's Bait Shop in Plymouth has been an anchor for local anglers. But what are some of the challenges of running a bait business? Reporter Carissa Wyand shows us how the Plymouth shop reels in success in this week's Business Matters.
If you need line, we've got it. If you need spinners, we got them. If you need something for musky fishing, we'll have that too.
Brian Soulars and his wife Jody own Big B's Bait and Tackle. They strive to maintain a one-stop shop for all things fishing.
There's a lot of good fishing in the metro area. A lot of the lakes that you drive past to go to work every day are loaded full of nice fish. Soulars
fishes competitively on a pro walleye tour. He got his start in the sport as a kid.
Caught my first walleye at 4.5 on Leech Lake and Sucker Bay. It's once you're hooked, you're hooked.
Keeping the sport going with the next generation is something he and his wife have invested in by sponsoring fishing clinics for kids through the Three Rivers Parks District and Boy Scouts.
You know, a fish tugging on the end of your line and on a pole, I mean, that's something you're not going to get from a video game. It's just a great experience. It's something you can do for your entire life.
The shop's been here in Plymouth for the last 20 years, and Brian and Jody took it over about 5 years ago. While they say business has been good to them, it hasn't been without its challenges.
Probably the biggest challenge is going to be weather. Definitely weather. It's if the weather's not perfect, you know, the fair weather fishermen, they don't go out.
The store is well stocked with bait, but keeping up with the hard to find kind prized by anglers is one way to lure in business.
Well, this year was a bad year for leeches. You know, we've still got plenty of leeches left, but we're very fortunate to have a bait supplier that, you know, is not the same supplier that everybody else uses around here.
As customers come and go for their live bait, Soulars says that competitive pricing and stocking specialty items not found in the big box stores also help him to net profits.
This is a perfect business for me and my wife. It's fun, and we get to enjoy all the, you know, fellowship of different fishermen.
For Business Matters, Carissa Wyand, CCX News.
Well, one thing that sets them apart is that they are one of the few bait shops that open early during the summer. They're open starting at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. on the weekend. Still ahead, it had people smiling, but it's a place many kids and grown-ups would like to avoid. But first, after finishing as state runner-up last fall, the Wayzata boys soccer team is looking strong coming into this season. Jay Wilcox has more next in sports.
I'm Jay Wilcox with sports. After summer workouts and captains' practices, fall athletes at high schools around the northwest suburbs hit the fields and courts Monday for the official start of practice. There's a change at the top in a prominent football program. For the first time since the 1999 season, Wayzata has a new head football coach. Lambert Brown, who came into the Trojans program as an assistant head coach last fall, takes over for longtime highly successful coach Brad Anderson.
I get to do what I love every day, so I'm a pretty lucky guy. Just nice to be able to just be here, work with our kids, to be in the building, to get a chance to just continue building the kids, really is what it's all about. And I think we've got a tremendous staff that's great to work with. We've got a great group of kids who have, their mindsets right.
Brown has coached at Fridley and Chaska and was also the AD at Maple Grove before returning to coaching. His players got to know him last season.
It helped a lot, especially towards the end of the year, because we sort of transitioned him to more of a head coaching role at the end and kind of let him take over a little bit. And so it definitely is, it's an easier transition than if he were just to be brand new right at the start of the summer.
I think he's bringing a lot of young energy out here. I think he's really trying to create a culture, kind of reshaping the program into a, not a different direction, but kind of his own view. And I think he's doing a good job.
Although the players have done football workouts through most of the summer, it is a different feeling when it's for real. And the cool, cloudy weather was a welcome sight for opening day.
Super nice day to start, especially we just had an off week, so this is a nice way to come back, a little bit cooler.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We're just getting into 2 days, so it's going to be a grind for the next couple of weeks, but just really excited to get out and finally start hitting again.
The Lambert Brown era officially begins in a couple of weeks with the season opener. Brown and his Wayzata players are just happy to be back at work. We'll start our daily football training camp reports, including a full preview of the Trojans later this week on CCX Sports. Well, it's day one for soccer as well. The Wayzata boys soccer team was the state class AA runner-up last season, and the Trojans have a solid core of players coming back. Here's Jason Malillo with a preview.
The preseason is like putting together a puzzle, and for the Wayzata boys soccer team, that puzzle has a lot of pieces.
We have 116 kids right now trying out, and it's a new year, new tryout process, so we're looking for new players.
Still, the Trojans return a lot of their impact players from last year's state final squad. They'll be very good on the back line in particular, led by seniors Walter Smith and Drew Gallinson.
I'm super excited about our back line. Got a lot of strong players. You got Drew in the back, in the middle. He wins everything. Got Danny in net. Feeling great about it. It's going to be good.
We got a lot of good guys coming back. Also, a lot of guys left, but we learned a lot from them last year. So I'm hoping to take what we learned from them and, apply it to these guys, these younger guys too.
Up front, Wayzata has a dynamic playmaker in Patrick Weah. The sophomore is always a scoring threat, but he can also distribute, as he did so well in last season's playoffs.
He's a big-time player for us. He'll get us a ton of goals, but he'll also create some scoring opportunities for others, so very excited to have him.
Anchoring it all will be goalie Danny Welshons, who gets his first crack at the starting job. If it all comes together for Wayzata, there's a good chance you'll see the Trojans back at US Bank Stadium. Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
Wayzata opens the season at home against Mounds View August 24th. Well, the Maple Grove boys are hungry for success this season. They're coming off a solid 2016 campaign that ended sooner than they would have liked. Longtime assistant Justin Turner, an Osseo grad, becomes co-head coach with Greg Leininger this season as Chad Moore steps into a smaller role. The Crimson return a handful of starters from a team that was 10-5-3 last fall and lost in the Section 8 AA semifinals. As they get started, there's a general feeling of optimism around the club.
We're going to look similar to last year. Obviously, we have a couple holes, a couple pieces we have to fill in. You never know who some of those guys are, though, until this week and next. But yeah, we're looking forward to some of those guys coming out.
I think we're a pretty skillful team. We have a lot of players with quick feet and good skill on the ball.
I guess every year we kind of come to compete and see what we can do in the conference and in the state, but I think it's looking good with the team and everything. we could really come together this year.
Maple Grove does have to replace graduated Mr. Soccer finalist Ryan DuBois. They open the season against rival Osseo on August 29th at Osseo. That's all for sports. Mike, back to you.
All right, exciting to get things up and running again. Thanks, Jay. Up next, a public safety lesson complete with a stranger in a prisoner jumpsuit. We'll be right back. And finally, a safety lesson that ends with a smile. It happened in Robbinsdale over the weekend as the fire and police departments held an open house.
Dude, going in.
He's friendly.
He's protecting me.
He wants a visitor.
Well, you can understand their reluctance to visit a stranger wearing a striped jumpsuit in the jailhouse. But they were all there just to mug for the camera. There were some serious safety lessons, too. That's Fire Marshal Greg Bodine demonstrating how to drop and roll to put out clothing that's on fire. But how do you beat a ride in a fire truck, especially if you're a young person and it's an antique truck? Look at that. That'll do it. That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And we leave you now with fireworks from Saturday's grand reopening celebration at the Minnesota State Capitol. Enjoy.